Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another fine edition of The Haunting. My name is B-sox. I'll be your host as we dive into the world of the paranormal, the unknown, and the weird for another month of October. Just to put this out there real quick, this month is going to be a little bit different. This is kind of the fifth year we've been doing this here at the radio station. And in the past, it's been all local paranormal groups throughout the state of Iowa. Well, this year, we are kind of expanding things, and we're going to go back in time. We're going to talk to people about the state of Iowa and just a whole bunch of other wackiness. So I hope you enjoy the ride as we dive into this. Tonight, we are going to go back in time to the very first interview we did for The Haunting. Ladies and gentlemen, on the line with me, my pal, my buddy, Seth Alne from Calhoun County Paranormal Investigators. What's going on, dude?
What is up, B-sox? How are you doing, my brother?
We talked about this off the air. I'm starting to get the kids cold, and my brain is starting to slow down as the afternoon proceeds. So this should be interesting here within the next few minutes. But for those of you who remember, Seth and his brother Jesse joined me on the first Haunting way back when, and we talked about ghosts, we talked about Bigfoot, we talked about UFOs and everything in between. And just due to timing, I apologize to Jesse for. I told Seth the other day, I'm like, listen, man, I don't got time to be dealing with this. So I want to apologize to Jesse real quick. We'll get him on again at some point. But Seth, how we been? 5 years later, man.
Oh man, dude, I've been good. Things are a lot different now. I don't live there anymore.
You're a dad. You don't live here anymore. It's crazy. You don't even believe in ghosts anymore.
I don't I don't hunt ghosts anymore. Yeah, this is a whole plethora. I'm just a new man, B-sox. Just a new man.
Well, let's get into it. Since the last time you were on the show for The Haunting, been about 5 years. Calhoun County Paranormal Investigators has gone through some changes, as we kind of talked about in the first interview. You guys were starting to make the move from ghost research and the like to Bigfoot, correct?
Correct. Yes. Yeah, we had definitely started to transition because my brother had left ghost hunting, and we wanted to bring back the band. Like it had been a while since we had been out, together hunting weird, scary things, and so we were like, let's go after Bigfoot. Let's start making Squatch, Iowa, and that led us down way more of a path of Bigfoot than paranormal. We were still dabbling in ghosts and whatnot, but we were definitely aiming towards Bigfoot, and now we are just full-fledged. That's all we do is Bigfoot.
And I want to get to Squatch, Iowa, because that is an award-winning documentary that you guys put out.
Heck yeah.
But the reason you guys got out of ghost hunting, this goes back to the story you told on the original show of Jesse's interaction with the Villisca Axe murder house, correct?
Correct, yes. He had a wild, terrifying experience in the cellar at the Axe house.
And if you want to hear it, I encourage you to go check out the original interview. But I know there's that certain bit of, wanting to follow your brother and have your brother involved with stuff. But you had said, and this was on the phone the other day, something about you thought it was something you shouldn't be messing with.
Right.
What was the other reasons for you to get out of the world of ghost hunting?
So it's kind of crazy, and I'll try not to ramble here, but I started noticing as I went on some later hunts, like we went to Missouri State Penitentiary and spent the whole night. I think that was back in 2020.
You went with Jonah's group, didn't you?
Yeah. Yep. JPR. Yep. We and Jesse went along that time, and it was incredible. I mean, don't ever get me wrong. It's like an addiction going out and spending nights in haunted locations. Like I still think about it all the time.
Yeah.
And we went out and we did that, and I remember Jesse saying, like, I know I shouldn't have done this, because like everything in his life started going screwy.
Real quick though, that was after the Villisca thing. And I thought, because I was like, oh, he he's not going to investigate. He's just going to videotape you guys, right?
Yeah, that's what the whole goal was, and he was just there to film, just there to experience, and we're urbexers. We love abandoned buildings, and
Yeah.
he wanted that sort of side of things. But then it's like, it's like drugs, man. It just starts like eating at you. You just like, oof. And he kind of just gave in, and he was like investigating along with us. And he was telling me about these things that were happening to him after the investigation. I was like, wow. I remember my flight home was awful. Like I was stranded in Chicago for like 24 hours, and there was just all these things that were happening to me, and I'm just like brushing them off. So another year goes by, and we have a chance to come back to Iowa and go to Farrar, and we were kind of like making it our last time at Farrar.
Okay.
And Jesse decided to come with us then too, and we full-fledged all went out that night. We were just investigating. We pushed that place. We were like old school. And dude, that next 6 months of my life was like the worst, some of the worst times I've ever had.
Really?
And I'm a Christian, a born-again Christian, and I just literally felt like I was being told, you gotta stop. You have to stop this. And then I was presented with all of these, like, I just stumbled upon them. I stumbled into these Bible verses and stuff saying, like, you are literally doing witchcraft and you are doing evil things, like by trying to contact the dead.
Yeah.
And you need to stop. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Well.
And yeah. So and then one of the craziest things ever was I had these ghost boxes, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just going to sell these ghost boxes, make some money, blah, blah. And I literally heard the loudest voice in my head say, no, smash them. And
Really?
like,
no way.
Oh, dude, I'm not even kidding, man. He said, do not spread this to other people. Smash them. I was like, all right. So I took $200 worth of ghost boxes outside and smashed them with a hammer.
Seth, have you ever seen a psychiatrist or?
No, dude, I know, man. I'm
and for those of you who may be listening, I'm doing this in fun. I'm not. I'm.
No. This is to be expected, my friend.
So you smashed $200 worth of ghost boxes.
I did, dude. I rarely hear the voice of God. I've heard it a few times, and this was like, okay, God, I hear you, pal. Like, I'm not even gonna think about it. Like,
really?
I just listen. And
now, when was this?
It was shortly. I think it was like a month or two after our last Farrar investigation.
And that would have been about when? I'm just curious.
That would have been October or November of 2021.
Okay, so a little bit of time.
Oh yeah.
Did you tell anybody about the voice of God telling you to smash things?
Oh, I've told people. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Dude, I'm not kidding, man. And I'm not trying to like go on some preaching path, but things have gotten so much better in a lot of senses in my life, especially my marriage and a bunch of other stuff. It was affecting me. It was affecting my marriage. It was affecting a lot of things. And it's a weird thing to say, oh, you're just talking to ghosts, bro. Like,
yeah.
No, like, it was just something I'm not supposed to do. And I'm not sitting here like condemning people, and I'm not condemning other people's choices, but that's just my like thing. And it was weird because I saw it happening to my brother and I kept denying it, and then it started happening to me, and I was like, okay, all right, looks like I'm just gonna go after 12-foot tall hairy monkeys in the woods.
Now, to play devil's advocate here, I mean, it's easy to just say it's the paranormal stuff. I take that out of my life, and things are hunky dory. You know?
Yeah.
But
oh yeah.
But I mean, could it be the thing? And I can't think of what the term is, but when if I tell you, boy, that cloud looks like a rabbit, you're going to see a rabbit. You know?
Sure, and that's the thing. It's purely objective, and it's like, it's again, if you're also, in the simple terms of religious or whatever.
Yeah.
It's more understanding in that. But dude, I'm not kidding. Like, my everything changed a whole bunch since I stopped ghost hunting. Like, mentally, and things that were just hurting in my life just completely turned around. And it was just me quitting ghost hunting. And things came into focus, that things that needed to be in focus better. And like, again, I know it might sound absurd to a lot of it, people, but it's just like one of those things, just like obeying what you've been told, and it's like, okay, all right, and trust me, I want to go out. Like, my buddy lives on this property, and half the woods are freaking haunted, and all I want to do is go out there and just investigate.
You could sneak it under the radar and say, we're investigating Bigfoot, not ghosts.
So my biggest thing is not contacting, not interacting, not trying to provoke, not trying to get things to happen. If things happen around me, then so be it. I'm not out there looking for it. I'm not trying to talk to it. I'm not trying to contact it. So I still will go explore old abandoned buildings. And if something happens, then it happens. Like I was telling you yesterday, I live in my house is haunted.
And I want to ask you about that, but real quick, Seth Alne from Calhoun County Paranormal Investigators on the line with me right now as we are talking about ghosts, the paranormal, and everything in between. When you say, stumbling into this stuff, it's crazy to hear that,
Oh, yeah. I understand, man.
Okay, so let's go back to Farrar for just a second. Your last investigation that set up, this stuff that, led to all this, officially leaving the world of ghost hunting. What was the last night at Farrar like?
Oh, dude, it was like our first night at Farrar. It was very intense, very, very pushing the place. And if you ever go back to our old investigations or whatever, we were very about like trying to get as much interaction as possible.
Yeah.
And we would push, and that's what we did. And it was like, I don't know, it was just a classic. It was a send off, and it's weird because it was almost exactly 20 years after we had began ghost hunting.
Really?
And it just happened that like this was it. This was the end, and I had no idea when we were there that
crazy.
Was it. That was it. And Farrar is our staple. It's our place, and so to end it there and not even mean to, like that's what's wild. And I think it was fate of some sort.
I gotcha.
Definitely leaves a story to tell. That's for sure.
Seth Alne on the line with me right now, talking about the world of ghosts and hauntings and everything in between. All right, so I want to get to Squatch, Iowa, but I want to keep the Bigfoot stuff just a little bit separate for now. You're living out in New York now, correct?
Correct.
You said, and you have done more stuff with the Bigfoot stuff, which we'll get to here in a second. But the house being haunted, what's going on here? Because the last time you and I talked, and not this week when we were setting up this, but before that, that's the first time I've ever heard you talk about your house being haunted.
So I live with my wife's parents, and we have an apartment in the basement, and her sister and her daughter also live upstairs with her parents.
Big house.
And it's a big house. Yeah, it's a big house, a lot of people. But my first ever like kind of introduction to what was going on here is my wife telling me like them growing up, which this is crazy because it's like this ranch style house that was built in the late 80s. So we're not talking like some old house, nothing. And it just sits on this cul-de-sac out in the country. It's not like you pull up, you're like, that's not haunted. Like you would never think that ever.
That's not haunted.
Would like literally never think that.
Okay.
And she told me all these stories about how like she has there's 3 other sisters and a brother.
Yeah.
And all the sisters at some point heard growling in their ear. Like
what?
Even she did. Yeah, like she heard literally where my computer desk is, she literally heard at one point back when she was a teenager, like literally she called it like a lion, but like a human trying to make a lion's roar.
Oh,
and
weird.
Made it into her ear. And all of her sisters have heard this. I think maybe not one. And then they would hear at night, my father-in-law would get up because he would hear people walking up and down the basement stairs. And the basement stairs are super creaky.
Okay.
And my wife also said they would hear like chairs moving in the living room or in the dining room, bunch of stuff. They would hear her brother being imitated. So like he would not be there, but she would hear him talking. They even heard that like him talking to their dogs, and their dogs like settled down. And he wasn't there.
Okay, can I ask something real quick?
Yeah.
When you were going back to the smashing the ghost boxes,
Yeah.
where did you hear the ghost, or where did you hear the voice?
I heard it in the shower.
In that house?
In that house, yes. Now I know where you're already going, but it wasn't. I didn't verbally hear it. It was in my head.
No, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
Could it have been like? Could it be someone impersonating the Almighty in that situation?
I don't think so because I had already been like, this is a weird thing, especially talking to people who aren't Christians, but like I had already been praying about this.
Yeah.
Because I had been feeling led, like it's the thing is they call it being led in the spirit. Like you just start feeling it. Like
Okay.
This it's something you can't shake.
So
like,
when God calls, you know it's him.
Yeah, it was absolutely him, because I had been in prayer about this whole thing, and I was like, I felt like I need to get rid of all this stuff. And I said, okay, like I'm thinking I'm going to sell this. I know what I'm going to do. And then it just comes out. It says, no, smash them.
Okay.
Do not spread this.
The reason I'm asking, because if you think about it, I mean, if you have a ghost hunter in the house, someone that's into this stuff, and you have people telling stories about hearing growling and stuff, and you don't want the one person that's a born-again Christian to know about this. Yeah, smash them. Get rid of them. You don't want to come after. You don't. Things are going to be awesome if you don't hunt me. I mean, and I'm not trying to be like overly funny with it, but I mean that's.
Oh no. It's a legitimate, absolutely legitimate question. I will say I mean, obviously there's the people who believe that ghosts can hear your thoughts and stuff like that. It's nothing I spoke outward like verbally. And the whole decision was to get rid of the ghost box like completely.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like I was going to sell them. I was getting rid of all my equipment. That was the decision.
Yeah.
And then that came out. Like everything else, like I knew like cameras and audio equipment, stuff like that can be used for other things. But the ghost box is literally like an audible music, more or less. So, no, I've never been communicated with in this house. So it would be a funny thing that they literally just decided to just imitate God. But no, I can tell you 1,000% it was not a ghost.
Okay, all right.
It was, but I understand, and I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of crap about it.
No, it's more just how, I mean, if you go into how I investigate things, when I went with you guys on how many trips, how many questions do I ask during the entire night?
Oh yeah.
I'm the one who won't shut up.
No. You're completely 100% like, yeah.
Okay, so how hard has it been not to investigate this house that you live in?
It's, that's the one thing especially when Jesse and I were really heavily into investigating, every apartment that we lived in was haunted, like every single one. And my biggest thing is I never wanted my house to be haunted. I didn't want to bring work home. So anytime that anything happened, we never acknowledged it. Like we would talk about it to each other, but we would never interact with what was happening because we did not want it worse. So I have no desire to investigate here.
And for the people out there that may be hearing this, dragging your work home in this manner is never a good thing.
Never. Oh my gosh, dude, no. I've been through some things, and it's unsettling. It's really to be on edge, and like you start to get used to it.
Yeah,
which is the crazy part.
Completely, kind of off topic. Did I ever tell you I may have had a hitchhiker from Farrar?
Really?
Yeah, last time I was out there. Yeah, I went out. Will invited me out on it was like legit Halloween.
Oh, I think I remember that. Yeah.
And I went out, but I came home, and I'm driving home. It's 3 or 4 in the morning, whatever it happened to be. And all of a sudden, my radio display in my car did something I've never seen it do ever, and it's never done it since. It like went to static, and this is a display on a car radio. It's a Traverse, right?
Yeah.
It went to static. It shut down. It restarted, and then it kicked out the CD.
What? Whoa.
And I'm like, what the?
Wow. Okay. All right.
So yeah, that's I was like, listen, anybody in the car with me, you got to go home.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean, but you are not welcome at the house. So
Wow, dude, that just, it reminds me of we were there one time way back, and we got in the car, and Jesse used to be extremely sensitive, and we're like backing out of the parking lot, and he goes, "Bro, you gotta stop." And I was like, "What?" He goes, "There's a girl in here with us," and I was like, "What?"
Is
and
she
he goes,
pretty?
It was a little girl.
Okay.
Little girl. And he's like reversed right now. And he said, we backed up, and he kicked open the back door. He's like, "You got to go. You have to go. You have to go back in the house." And he said he literally could see this girl like run back to the school. And yeah, that was the closest we ever came. But that's every single time we had investigation, we're like, no, nothing is allowed to come with us. Nothing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always stop it. It really doesn't stop it. And we always used to be like, well, it's just because we live in haunted apartments. No, I'm pretty sure we were being.
Is it? Well, you say that, but if you guys have a lot of interesting stuff around you, and
True.
you know, at these places, you know, whether it's Villisca or Farrar or you know what have you, you guys seem to get good information, you know, good evidence, good stories, you know, that sort of thing. Is it not the apartments haunted? Maybe it's you guys?
Yeah, it's, dude, I would definitely think that, especially back in the day, that there was definitely stuff hanging out with us.
Okay.
Because, I mean, even when, and we never even acknowledged that. I don't think we wanted to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there was spirits from our very first place that we ever investigated, the cemetery up in Palmer, Iowa, that this little girl, that we would constantly get her name in other locations.
Weird.
And then we would get the name. Dude, we got the name. This was the craziest. When we went to down to Missouri State, we had the voice and the name of the principal that we've interacted with thousands of times at Farrar come through in the prison on the ghost box and say, because he was always Principal West. He literally, the same voice that we had interacted with came through our ghost box and said Warden West.
Ooh.
And I'm not even joking. Like, it was so creepy, man. Like, so yeah, I think stuff resonated with us, even if it was just some sort of energy hanging out. So yeah, so that's why. And then we kind of stopped slowing down, and then the haunting slowed down too.
I got you. Seth Alne on the line with me from Calhoun County Paranormal Investigators. As we wrap up the ghost side of everything you do, I would genuinely feel bad asking you for like some of your favorite places or places you recommend. So instead of that, I'm going to ask, if people are going to do this,
yeah,
they're going to go out, you know, they're going to, you know, ghost hunt for fun or because they want evidence or, you know, whatever it happens to be. What's your advice? And it can't be don't. It can't be don't.
No, if you're doing this, and I totally understand the draw, I totally understand the want, I say go in completely and utterly, like, just curious. Don't go in trying to, like, push a place with limits like we used to. Go in and just, like, set up recorders, set up video, and just sit and listen.
Yeah.
Like, I have not, like, our last few investigations, we spent a lot of time just listening. And I feel like a lot of our stuff came from that. And listening and then just discussing and, like, kind of seeming like you're not paying attention. The biggest thing that we love to do was go and tell ghost stories about other locations. And it was literally, I swear the ghost got jealous or something like that because, dude, we used to get the best stuff
really
when we were sitting around telling stories about other locations. And
I've never heard that before.
Oh yeah, dude. That we spent, man, what was that? We spent a night in this old popcorn factory a few years ago. It was like made into a haunted house.
Okay.
And we spent over half the night with like barely anything happening. And it was just me, Gert, and Cole. And we decided, we went into this dark like tunnel area, and we're like, we're gonna just start talking about other places. And I'm not kidding, dude. Within 5 minutes, there was stomping above us, and then it was terrifying the rest of the night. Like, it's like they just are jealous because it's like they're hearing that we interact with other spirits. And this might sound absolutely ridiculous to certain people, but it proved time and time and time again that we literally just stop and ignore what's going around us. They will start to interact because they want to make their presence known to you.
Can I offer a secondary opinion here?
Absolutely.
It's just something to think about. All right, so if you start telling stories about a different haunted location at a haunted location, right?
Yep.
What if the spirit, the energy, the ghost, whatever you want to call it, hears it and they're like, I'm not alone.
True.
I want to hear more.
Yep.
I mean, could it be something, not necessarily a jealousy thing, but I want tell me, you know?
Yeah. Like, hey, I'm here too. Like, I want to know more about this. Like, you're having interactions, you know, like, whoa, what is this? Yeah, oh yeah, I could totally see that. It's curiosity and curiosity or jealousy, and curiosity is a huge thing I could absolutely see.
Especially with kid ghosts.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, all right, Seth Alne from Calhoun County Paranormal Investigators on the line with me right now. This is The Haunting. My name is B-sox. So as you guys kind of left the whole ghost paranormal world, as we talked about last time, you guys were getting ready to release Squatch, Iowa. Since then, awards, been on TV, seen a hairy man's ass, and so much more. Okay, so that would have been, 2018, I believe?
Yeah, so we talked with you, at the end of 2018, and we had been in the beginning filming of Squatch, Iowa.
Which, real quick, when you guys were getting ready to do that, and when you put it out, I know you had asked if you could use part of the interview we did on The Haunting for it.
Yeah.
I legitimately had no idea I was going to be in there with the other investigation. I was like, oh my God, that's awesome.
Oh, heck yeah, dude. Like our whole entire like mission with Squatch, Iowa was to like show skeptics and stuff like that. And it was like the best, in my opinion, like one of my favorite parts of that movie is it starts out like with us discussing with you, and you're, you know,
making fun,
skeptical, joking and making fun. And then we're like, okay, so let's take B-sox out there. Like, it doesn't even in the interview, it doesn't even say, like, we don't even say it. But if you keep watching, all of a sudden, hey, now B-sox is out there with us, you know, and we're throwing him out in the middle of it. And it's just like one of my favorite things, because our whole thing is like taking people that are, you know, have had the experience, and even the people that are like, I don't think so, and bringing them out there and trying to show you, you know, like, hey, this exists. So like, it's all part of the mission of Squatch, Iowa. So I'm glad you were happy about that.
So a couple things that I've never told you about that, especially that night. One, I was absolutely fascinated by it. I legitimately didn't know if we would see Bigfoot around the area I grew up. And where we went was, if anybody's in Iowa or wants to look it up, it's along Saylorville Lake. It's kind of right in central Iowa, north of Des Moines. I had an absolute blast that night. That is legitimately one of my favorite nights of investigating anything.
Dude, I love that. It was so fun. It was so good.
And after I saw it, I'm like, God, I talked a lot. But tell us about, okay, so you guys release Squatch, Iowa. It comes out. It wins awards. It gets recognition. What award did it win again?
It won the Best Cup Award, which was Cryptids, UFOs, and Paranormal at the Vinny Film Festival, which Vidi, which is no longer around, but their whole entire like basis was ghosts, Bigfoot, and aliens.
Yeah.
And we came to the first film festival, and we won the best documentary out of that field. So
and that was a
we
national
always
thing.
told that it was there was they accepted stuff internationally from the whole world.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was their first one, and it was judged personally by Nick Groff originally from Ghost Adventures. Chad, wow, I'm drawing a blank on his name, but he's from Fast and Furious. Like really good big names judged this thing, and we won. So that was pretty awesome.
Also in that time frame, you and Jesse got to go on another one of the haunted shows. How many haunted shows have you been on? Like Discovery, Travel, and all that?
I have been on, let's see, I've been on 2 or 3 episodes of My Ghost Story, and I've been on, this was my first like in studio with These Woods Are Haunted. So I think I've been on 4. Jesse's been on like 6, I think. He's been in studio a couple different times. He's been on Destination Fear. He's been on a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
Well, maybe I should have had him on. Again, Jesse, I'm sorry I didn't grab you for this time. But so you've been around the block. Now on the other podcast show, my buddy Justin and I do, we had an amazing amount of fun with your guys' appearance on what was the Bigfoot one?
Oh my gosh. It was it has 2 names. These Woods Are Haunted and Terror in the Woods.
I don't want this to come off wrong, and I don't want to push people off of Seth or not have him on the show anymore. The version of the story you told us is so much different than what they put on the TV.
Oh.
And you got they made reenact they had actors play you guys.
Oh yeah, dude. They went all out. We thought this is it. This is awesome. This is gonna be our true staple. And the director told us, "Oh, we're all about the truth. We just want to tell the truth." And then he literally has us tell 2 stories of interactions with Bigfoot. And what's he do? He just tapes them together and makes one story, and then just completely flips our stuff upside down. It's a hilarious joke. I'm proud of it now because it's literally one of the most played episodes. It gets played on Travel like all the time, but it is a joke and a half, man. Like me and my brother screaming like we're dying in the woods, and like
well, there was that. It was like, and okay, so to preface it, the short of the story is you guys were up by Cedar Falls, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
There's a old racetrack, if I remember correctly.
Yes, old Greyhound building, racetrack building.
And you guys, and this racetrack, it's not like it's outside of town or out in the middle of nowhere. It's like in town.
Yeah, it's like kind of like this stretch in between Cedar Falls and Waterloo. It kind of sat by itself, but there's stores around. There's gas stations.
It's not like you're in the middle of nowhere. And the 2 first things that I knew was like, oh, this is gonna be bad good.
Oh
is the actors, the guys that are playing you guys drinking out in the woods because neither one of you or Jesse drink.
No.
And the forest they show, there's mountains and this giant forest.
Yes, dude. The mountains, man.
I forget how Justin said to me. He goes, "I've never seen mountains in Iowa before." But you guys got to go on this show. You guys, as much fun as, like you said, I mean, it's funny now. You know, I imagine there's part of you that's disappointed that your story wasn't told correctly, but it's you had someone play you in a show.
Oh yeah, no, it'll always be something I like wear as a badge. Like I think it's great. I knew, like, part of me knew they were going to screw it up real bad. And that's why I'm here. You know, that's why I always tell people, you want to know the real story? Go watch our documentary. That'll tell you the real story.
All right. So let's really dive into the Bigfoot stuff. When you guys talked to me the last time, it was basically you were looking for something else to do because you wanted to give it out of the ghost realm of the paranormal, right?
I mean, yeah, we had been dabbling in Bigfoot since 2009, I think. So it was just kind of like we're gonna put more focus into that.
And when I say that, that's just the short version of the story. I'm not trying to change your story, just the short
Oh
version.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna change it completely. Well, you know what? Because of you and like Will and a couple other people I know that have been on those shows, when I go to talk about the paranormal, when I tell people that I'm going to edit, the interview or whatever, the edit I do is just to clean it up. I won't ever change anything to make anybody say anything they didn't say or make it more dramatic and all that, because that stuff. I was mad for you that night.
Yeah. Absolutely, dude.
But anyways, so you guys jump into the world of Bigfoot. What's been the most surprising thing, you think?
Oh, man.
I know that kind of puts you on the spot, but...
Yeah, no, I think the most surprising thing to me, since we really took this journey, was finding out how much we were not alone in Iowa. Like, having experience and stuff. I mean, I'm not kidding, man. When we started, absolutely nobody, except some internet stories, was talking about Bigfoot in Iowa. And like, we're like, dude, we're the only crazy people that believe that there's Bigfoot here. And
I do believe I made fun of you guys.
Oh, you absolutely did. And that is well deserved, because you were not the only one. And so like, that was the whole point of Squatch Iowa, was be like, hey, yo, like, look, Bigfoot is here. And dude, the most shocking, most amazing thing that has ever come out of that movie is the people that message us, dude. We have like grandfathers, like in their 70s, message us saying thank you. He's like, I've been trying to tell my grandkids about these stories that I had when I was a kid around Saylorville Lake and stuff that happened to me in that area. And they always made fun of me, said, yeah, right, Grandpa.
Yeah.
So I found this movie and I showed them, and now they're like, wow, tell us more. Because, dude, I think I've probably gotten six messages from different people, strangers, saying thank you. And that's been the most shocking thing to me, is like, wow, these people are really out there, and they just don't talk about it publicly because they don't want to be shamed, Spending more time out there just is like, wow, these guys, things are all over the place, and not just in one location that we thought maybe they were.
Well, when you think about Bigfoot, you think deep forest, you think mountains, you don't think the heartland. I don't think.
Right.
At least at first glimpse.
Right. You absolutely don't. And that's, like being out here in New York, like now I'm up in the mountains and stuff, and that's where I hunt now, because that's where they have to go. Iowa, they don't have that, and so these Midwest Bigfoot, they have to like evolve and figure out other ways of, so they become more curious because they're more close with us. Here, it's easier to escape, so they're, it's easier to be away from us. Out in Iowa, it's not so much.
What do you think Bigfoot is? Let's start there real quick. Do you think, and I know it's a big question, but do you go the kind of mystic route with it? Do you go the interdimensional traveler thing with it? Do you go, it's just a animal that we haven't discovered yet? Where are you at on that?
I do believe I believe it is some sort of interdimensional being.
Okay, you weirdo.
I know. The reason I say that is based on the interactions that I've had with it.
Okay.
How like I've literally seen what I believe is a cloaked Bigfoot. I've literally been chasing something and it just vanished. I've been affected mentally, like a group of us was affected mentally. In our first, we were all made extremely screwed up in our head, like we didn't know what was going on. We were confused, this and that. Not to say that animals, it has been researched that animals can put off some sort of vibe like that. But I've seen too much and I've heard too many stories that makes me believe that it is interdimensional of some sort.
Okay, so I want to talk about New York specifically, but in Iowa, where have you had the most luck looking for Bigfoot?
I would say, like when I think about where I want to go again, it's like Jester Park, Saylorville area.
Really?
Oh my gosh, dude. Jester Park is still probably like top 3 favorite hunts of all time. If you watch the one where we're hunting in the snow, that was terrifying that night.
And just for the people that may, sorry to cut you off, just for the people that may not know exactly where Jester Park is, it is kind of up by Saylorville Lake. It's west of Polk City, kind of north of Des Moines. It is not a giant park.
No.
But it's not like it's out in the middle of nowhere or anything like that. So that's crazy that's the place.
Dude, seriously, like the things that we experienced out there and heard, and then the sighting that Alan had out there when he was fishing at 6 a.m, like literally seeing a 10-foot Bigfoot walking through the woods. Just that whole area, like if you zoom out, like that whole wooded area through Polk City, even like traveling, up past through Polk City, that whole wooded area, like that's probably my favorite. One of the most fun is also Yellow River State Park area up in Northeast Iowa. But yeah,
going back to and I just want to talk about the Saylorville area a little bit more.
Yeah.
Just because I grew up there, and that forest that goes along there and where the bike trail is and kind of weaves back. And I'll tell you, you know what's weird about that? You say that, and I can remember as a kid, it wasn't so much Bigfoot, but it sounds so stupid now, but I remember people saying that there were satanic worshipers back there.
Really?
That were doing stuff back in the woods, and I thought I had heard people say they found sites and that sort of thing.
Which I'm not surprised either. That could definitely be a thing.
But I remember that as a kid because they were like, "Oh, stay out of the forest," and that's weird, man. So what was the other one, real quick?
Up in like Northeast Iowa, Lansing. It's the main base that we always go from is Yellow River State Forest Park area.
Okay.
It's like you're not in Iowa. It's like cliffs and bluffs and we had some. That's where I saw the cloak Bigfoot, and we had some incredible like communication. And there's been other, like that's the only place that's ever had a Bigfoot show. I think Finding Bigfoot went up there.
Really? That's crazy.
Yeah.
And that area is very different compared to central Iowa. You're more in River Valley. There's a lot of ups and downs, elevation changes, forest, there's farmland, but it's not like just miles upon miles of fields.
Right.
So,
and I see Iowa as like kind of like highway for Bigfoot. I'm not saying that they're always sitting and living, but if you follow like a lot of reports and stuff, it's always along the rivers.
Yeah.
And so I think they come down from like the Minnesota mountain areas in Canada, and they like travel the rivers. And a lot of our stuff has happened next to rivers, streams, stuff like that. But yeah, it's crazy stuff, dude.
Seth Alne from Calhoun County Paranormal Investigators on the line with me right now. All right, so you've been on TV a few times. Squatch Iowa did really well, which I believe that's still on YouTube, right, in its entirety?
Yes, sir.
I will. Yep. I'll tag it at the bottom of this, so if people want to check it out, they can. What are you working on now? Like, what I know you've been in New York for a few years now. I know you and Jesse try and do stuff when you're back together and stuff. But what are you working on now? What's going on?
So I have two big projects, and then I always have little stuff laying around. And I've one of the biggest things I am focused on right now, which is crazy, is it's our last paranormal ghost project.
Okay.
And that is Haunted Iowa 2, which has actually been in the works since 2011.
Oh, wow.
Literally, when Haunted Iowa 1 came out, we were already working on Haunted Iowa 2. And Haunted Iowa 2 has had like 3 or 4 attempts, and I just never was able to capture the magic of Haunted Iowa 1.
Okay.
Not able to get what I really wanted. It also, a lot of the filming that we were doing kind of happened right into when I met my now wife, and so a lot of my time went to her, and kind of like that all got put on the back burner. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I met a girl, and you know,
dude, seriously, like it was crazy. We've had like 2 or 3 release dates for that movie.
Yeah.
And 2 of them got screwed up because I just wasn't happy. And I was like, all right, 2015, 10-year anniversary of CCPI. We're going to do this thing. And then literally 2 months later, I met my now wife. And yeah.
Does she, real quick with her mind, does she go on any of this stuff with you? Is she into it?
She went on a couple investigations with us, ghost stuff. She's definitely like a believer. She's been on some Bigfoot hunts. She's in Squatch, Iowa. She's in a couple of the investigations. She's definitely about it. Yeah, she doesn't go on mini hunts anymore, but she definitely enjoys it. Yeah.
I got you. That's cool.
So when I knew that I was gonna have the 6 months off for my daughter being born this year, I decided I'm gonna just take everything that we've filmed in the past 10 years for ghosts.
Yeah.
I have like tons of investigations. I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna make Haunted Iowa 2, and it's going to be like the last send off, like our love letter to the paranormal field, and say, hey, like we've been promising this movie, so I'm gonna just take the last 10 years and I'm gonna show you what we did in the last 10 years.
Isn't that kind of cheating?
Sort of. I'm like, okay, 10 years, we have enough good stuff to at least give you a solid documentary.
Well, I mean, you had a voice from the heavens tell you to smash all the stuff. If the voice came down and said delete everything, would you?
Oh yeah, and I know that was the thing, because Jesse and I kept like releasing like old videos and stuff.
Yeah.
And I said there needs to be an end. We have to stop like continuing to put this up. But we're sitting on this pile of stuff. So I prayed about it and I said I need some guidance on what I should do about this. And it said just one last, be done with it. You've been like said I've been promising.
You negotiated with the Almighty.
I mean that's what I said, and I felt peace about it. Yeah, I felt peace about it. So
all right.
It wasn't like I didn't get some defining word or anything, but I just felt peace about it.
One time, Seth. One time.
One time. Just be done with it. Like that's pretty much what it was. Like be done with it. And like so, this was instead of like I was literally, my thoughts were for a while, like, I'm just going to put these investigations together and release small videos for the next how many years. And I'm like, no, we're done with it. Like, so I promised this to so many people in the past decade. This is literally for them. I could give 2 flying Fs if anybody watches this. I'm doing this for them, and so that they can, like, a promise fulfilled. Or
all right.
Yeah. But then, that's that, man. That's the nail in the coffin on the ghost videos.
And then it's nothing but Bigfoot from there on out, right?
Yeah. Empire State Bigfoot is my big
cool.
Bigfoot project, which I've been filming since I moved out here. I started in 2020, and I've had like different stories, different interactions, 2 areas I've really focused on. And I even brought, like, Jesse and Gert came out and we did like some full big hunts. And so that's pretty much filmed. Every once in a while I'll add some new stuff to it, but that I'm excited about. I feel really good about that one.
You should be able to see it in 2042.
2042, yeah, the way things are going with me.
That's awesome. Hey, real quick, where about, and you don't have to tell the exact location, but like New York area, where about, like what town are you close to?
Oh, I'm just about 30 minutes south of Albany.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So you're
like where I run all my big errands is in Albany. So.
All right. So you're just north of the cities then.
Yeah. We're about 2 hours from the city.
Okay. Boy, you get into some deep forest back there, eh?
Oh, dude. Yeah. Like you walk out of the back of our house and you can see the Catskill Mountains.
Oh, wow. That's very cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's right. My buddy lives like at the base, kind of like in the base of the mountains, and so that's where we do a lot of our hunting. There's so much activity up there.
What's been the most? Because I don't want to say the scariest, but what was the most interesting one so far?
There actually was earlier this year. We were he has this like Terex like off-road vehicle, and we go up into the mountains, and we were coming down in this pathway through the woods, and I was shining my flashlight up, like my spotlight up into the woods.
Yeah.
And I caught the biggest eyes staring back at me, like, and they were like crouched over the edge of this like cliff area, and I was like, Brad, stop this vehicle. I literally just jumped out and ran into the woods to go get a better perspective of this thing. And the eyes, like, I could see them like slowly blinking and looking at me. And again, 100%, it could have been something else, but these eyes were huge. And it was what followed after. So the eyes, like, I run after it. The eyes vanish. I go try to get up to it. This thing is like higher up.
Yeah.
And for the next like hour, we're hearing freaking screams in the woods, stomping, like the loudest stomping, stuff being thrown, and I know you're over there just giggling. But
well, what were you gonna do if you caught it?
I wasn't gonna catch it. I was trying to film it.
Like, I know, but still, like, what if you would have, like, let's say, just for the sake of argument, you run up on this thing and it doesn't leave. Like, how close do you think you're gonna get before it's like, you know what, this is a stupid idea?
Let's just say I was just trying. My biggest thing is I want to get within 20 feet of this thing. I fully expect, like, from all my research and all the stories out there, these things don't stand and just like wait for you to like get them. Like, I've never heard of anybody just like, I ran after it and it was sitting there waiting for me. Like, I'm an idiot when it comes to Bigfoot a lot of times. If you watch the freaking show on Travel Channel and they say that we ran away, no, we did not. Jesse sees a Bigfoot. What do? We just decide, let's run after it. Like,
that was the best.
Dude, I will fully say, just like I was in ghost hunting, I am now. I'm a moron when it comes to this. Like, I just want to film this thing.
Yeah, going back to the TV thing with the Bigfoot. You guys, in the story, you guys are in hot pursuit of this thing. In their version of it, you were being chased by this thing across Iowa.
Oh yeah, dude. It literally, the crescendo, the big part of that story is like Jesse sees it across this little stream area and says, Seth, there's a Bigfoot. And in the show, he's screaming, where are you? Where are you?
He's crying and stuff.
And like, yeah, and they're making it sound like the Bigfoot took off after us. No, that has never been a thing, and that has never been, like, you don't ever hear about people being chased through the woods by a Bigfoot. Like, no, what happened was we literally jumped that stream and tore off after this, and Bigfoot ran as fast as he could, and we literally ended up getting lost in the woods because we were morons, and all we wanted to do was see this thing. Like, we wanted to get full eyes on this Bigfoot, and that's what I do every single time.
Hey, you get back here, you son of a
it's like storm chasers, man. It's like most normal people are like, why are you driving at that tornado? It's the same thing. Like, why are we running at the huge creature that could rip our arms off and beat us with them? Like, I don't know. I want to catch footage. I don't want to, like, I mean, it'd be fun, but I'm not going to actually physically catch a Bigfoot, but I'm going to film that bad boy if I can.
Hey, real quick, what is it about paranormal investigators that their next adventure is storm chasing? Have you noticed that?
Bro. Seriously, that is the biggest truth of all time. And I think it's something with adrenaline.
Yeah.
And I have some other comments that I'll just keep to myself. But I will say props to my buddy, our buddy Jonah, because I feel like that dude has legitimately taken it to the next level with, storm
Oh,
chasing.
he's got some great pictures and stuff. Like, he's
Oh,
really done some cool stuff.
He has educated himself fully in what he's doing. Other people, not so much. They're like, oh, let's go chase this storm and hope to God we don't get sucked up, But yeah, dude, that is the biggest truth right there. Like,
I don't know what it is, but every single ghost hunter is like, all right, it's time to chase the tornado now.
It's a thing. I think a lot of ghost hunters, and I'm the same. I mean, I was the same. It's just they're sitting at home, they see something on TV, they're like, I could do this. This sounds like fun. And so they do it, and then they're like, okay. They see people driving around chasing storms. I could do this.
Oh, hell, I can do that.
It's people bored. Like, they're just bored, and they want some adrenaline and some excitement in their life. So they're like, oh, I could do this.
That's awesome. That's really funny. Seth Alne from Calhoun County Paranormal Investigators. All right, man. Well, I've talked your ear off. I kind of feel bad about that. I know you're a busy cat.
No, this has been good.
Thank you so much for coming on, man. I'm glad you're still doing some of this stuff. Maybe it's not, exactly the ghost hunting that it used to be, but I'm glad you're still in the world of the weird.
Oh, dude, I'll never not be. Like, it's just too intriguing. I just love the curiosity.
Seth Alne from Calhoun County Paranormal Investigators. Again, man, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's always fun talking to you.
Oh, dude, my pleasure. Anytime, my friend, anytime.
And best of luck with getting that documentary done by the turn of the century.
I appreciate that. We'll try.